the proper way to contact this is all ours, because we have them inside. It's just because we don't know where the key is, and we locked this house for a long time, and now we've forgotten that we have this treasure, that's all. So the Sokol Master is the one who can help us to open the door, and show us what is originally already belonged to us.
Teaching high in 1989 at a lecture at Columbia University, and when I walked into the room and I saw her sitting there and giving her lecture, I just knew that she was an enlightened being, and that I was like very taken from everything that she said, and I wanted to receive initiation right away, but I didn't at that moment because I just thought that maybe it was too soon, and I was just jumping like too soon to what my intuition and my emotions were, and I said, all right, okay, I'll let it sit for a while. Then she returned to New York in February of 1990, and at that moment I did receive initiation, and I must say that my life has changed radically and for the better since that moment. And there's no doubt in my mind that Master Ching Hai is an enlightened being, and she is here to help us all with our processes and with our karma, and for the better of humanity and the world. And it's just a great thing to be in the presence of an enlightened master and to have her, so close to us. And what can I say? It's just a blessing for all of us and for all of you people that are here, and that this is your first experience with her. Just I'm so happy that you are all here and that we can enjoy and share this lecture.
I'm a spiritual seeker, and I've been that for probably all of my life. And what that means is that I've sampled many different teachers and masters, or so-called masters, schools, in many different traditions. Some of them were Hindu, some of them were Islamic, some of them were Christian, and some of them don't even have any names. And I've been doing this seriously for maybe 20 years. And I was living in New York City, and I found an ad in the newspaper, and what it said was the key to instant enlightenment. And it said Master Ching Hai. And I looked at that, and I laughed. I thought, I've been working so hard for 20 years, doing all kinds of practices and all kinds of austerities, fasts, yoga asanas, and very, very intense and complicated meditations. And here's someone saying instant enlightenment. And I said, well, I want to go see who this is because I want to come and scoff. I want to criticize. And that was really...
See how dangerous it is.
That was my reason for coming. And so, I was, all proud, and I went over, it was at Columbia University, and this was in the fall of '89. And I go in and I sit sort of near the back, because I'm not, all that interested. I wanted to escape, after 15 minutes after I had my laugh. And I sat there, and I heard the speaker, like me, and I said, I've heard this so many times, someone, a disciple comes up and says how much they love their master and all the miracles, like they talk about all the miracles, and, how many times can you listen to this? I've heard it, and, well, I see this person is very, devoted to their master, and it didn't impress me. I didn't, in fact, I have to confess that when I started buying tapes of Master, I would fast forward through the speeches like mine, so I expect for the rest of my life people are going to fast forward through this speech.
Oh, that's how you came.
Yes.
Thanks to you that I knew his secret. I didn't know that.
So, oh boy. So I sat down there and I listened to her talk, and my mouth dropped open, and it was flawless. I thought that I was really good at detecting truth, and there was absolutely nothing I could criticize. And not only that, I found that by the end of the lecture, and it was a long lecture, I think it was maybe 2 hours, with part of it was English, part of it, the question and answers were in Chinese. And I found that when she was talking Chinese, I didn't even care. I mean, it was like being there felt so good. And I took the next step, which is I came back for a lecture the next day. And then there was an initiation the next day, and I missed that because my work was more important. And I wound up a month later, I bought a book, like there are books outside, and I bought a book and I said, well, I'll think this over, this is really impressive, but I'll think it over. And I meditated my old meditations, and I read the book, and Master Ching Hai's presence was there every time I meditated. And then I said, I gotta get the initiation. So do you want to hear a little miracle story?
You need to make your karma.
As soon as I decided I needed, I really wanted the initiation, I got a coupon in the mail from Continental Airlines for a round trip ticket to the West Coast for $189. I said, wow, I can afford that. I can get there. I can actually go. And I went to the ticket agency, and they said, no, we can't honor this. I said, well, what do you mean I have this coupon? They went in the back and called Houston or wherever they call, and they came back and said, yeah, 4 of these have shown up, so we have to honor it. So I had my ticket, and I was going to get my initiation, and I'm still here.
You had enough miracles? Yeah. He had a lot of miracles, but he didn't say. In case you scoff at him. Many things I don't know. It's the first time I heard something from him also, just like you. So welcome to the United Nations. And please pray together for a while in your own belief that we are grateful for what we have, what we are given, and we hope that those who have not enough will be given the way we are given. The world's refugees, the war's victims, the soldiers, the government leaders, and of course the United Nations leaders will be able to accomplish what they want and live together in peace. We believe what we ask will be given because it says so in the Bible. Thank you. So it's been a long time since I was here. And has any of you been here before? I mean, been to my lecture before? When? Yes. Oh, yeah, so thank you. And today our lecture, the theme of our lecture is Beyond This World. Yes. Because I don't think I would like to talk to you about this world anymore. That you know, yes, this world. We have United Nations, we have America, New York, the Apple. But beyond this world, we have other things. And if I think all of you who came here would be interested to know. This is not it's not something like Steve just said about miracles or anything that's fantastic that you cannot believe. It is something very scientific, very logical, and very important. We all heard that in different kind of religious Bibles and scriptures, it is mentioned that there are 7 heavens, there are different levels of consciousness, there are the kingdom of God within the Buddha nature, etc. These are something that is promised beyond this world. But not many people have access to what is promised in these scriptures. Not many. I wouldn't say none, but not many. Yes. Compared to the population of the world, people who have access to the kingdom of God within, or what we call what beyond this world, is very few. And if you are in America, probably you have many opportunity to read a lot of books who describe things that is beyond our world. And some of the movies that the Americans people made are not altogether fiction. Also, there are some movies made by Japanese are also not all fiction. Yes. Because these people have probably read some of the books that have been written by those who has been beyond this world. Or they themselves have some claims into the kingdom of God. So, in the kingdom of God, what lies in the kingdom of God? Why should we bother about the kingdom of God? If we already have enough work to do in the world, and we have a job, and we have secure houses, and we have enough loving relationship, etc. Precisely because we already have all this. We should be concerned about the kingdom of God. It sounds too religious when we say the kingdom of God. It's actually just some level of higher consciousness than people in the old day, they say it is heaven. But in a scientific term, we can say it is a higher level of knowledge, a higher level of wisdom. And this we can have access to, should we know how. So in lately in America, we have all heard of the late invention. People even have a machine to put you into samadhi. Have you experienced this? You haven't? No? It's in America, on sale. 400 to 700. Depends on what level you want. They call this for the lazy people who don't want to meditate, just want to be right samadhi. Now, in case you don't know, I would be brief about that. They say that this kind of machine can put you into a relaxed mental attitude state, a relaxing state. Then you would achieve the high level of IQ. That's supposed to give you high knowledge, high wisdom, and then you feel great, etc. And this machine, they use some selected music, outer music. And so you need earphones. And then they put some electric probably currents that stimulate you, and then you will probably see some flash. So you need also blindfold. An earphone and blindfold, that's all you need for samadhi. This is very good. And $400, very cheap. But our samadhi is even cheaper, it costs nothing. And it's forever. And you don't need to charge the battery or electricity, plug in, plug out, or in case the machine goes out of order, you don't need to go and fix it. Now, even if the artificial light and the artificial music could make people become so relaxed and so wise, if it's supposed to give them this. But I have read on the newspaper it's supposed to do. I haven't tried myself. So that's why it is very hot and salt and all that. It's so lot, I heard. Even these artificial things could put us into a relaxed mood and increase our IQ. Then, could you imagine how much the real things can help us in our wisdom? The real things is beyond this world, but it's accessible to every man, should we want to contact with it. This is the inner heavenly music and the inner heavenly sound. And depends on the intensity of this music, of the inner light or inner music, we can push ourselves beyond this world, go into a deeper level of understanding. I guess it's just like the law of physics, when you want to send a rocket into the beyond the gravity, you have to have a lot of pushing power behind that. And also when it flies very fast it also emanates some light. So I guess when we go fast into the beyond, we can radiate, yes, some light also. And also we can hear the sound. The sound is the kind of vibration, power that pushes us into the higher level. But it does that without any noise, without much trouble and no cause and no discomfort to the experienced. This is the way to go into the beyond. And what is beyond this world that is better than our world? Everything that we can imagine and cannot imagine. Once we experience this, then we know. No one else could tell us really, but we have to be persistent in that, and we have to truly be sincere. Otherwise, no one else can do it for us. The same like no one else can replace you to work at the UN's office, and you get paid for that. The same as no one else could help us to eat, and then we get satisfied. Therefore, the way is to be experienced, and not. We're could listen to someone who has experience to tell us, but we cannot gain much experience from that. We may do for one time, for a couple of times, or some days, due to the power of that person who experienced God. Then we might see some light or hear some sounds very naturally without our effort, but that in most cases it doesn't last very long. So we have to also experience it and do it ourselves. Beyond our world, there are many different worlds. We could just put an example like the one being a little bit higher than us, what we call the astral world in the Western terminology. In the astral world, they have even 100 and more different levels, and each level is a word of itself, and it represents our level of understanding. It's just like we go into the university, and then each grade, as we go through the university, it represents our understanding more about the university teaching, and then slowly we move to the graduation. In the astral world, we will see many kind of so-called miracles, and we probably will be tempted also by miracles, and we probably will have miracles also. We can heal the sick, we can, sometimes see something that other people can see. We have at least 6 kinds of miracle power. We can see beyond the ordinary boundary. We can hear beyond the limit of space. The distance doesn't make difference to us. And what we call the heavenly ears and the heavenly eyes. And then we can see through the people's thinking. And what he has in his mind, sometimes we can see, etc. These are the powers that sometimes we acquire when we have access to the first level of the kingdom of God. And within this first level, I have already said that we have many different other levels, which offer us a lot more than language can describe. And when we got there, we will, if we, for example, after initiation, then we meditate, and if our level is at the first one, then we have much more abilities. And then we will even develop our literature talent, which we don't have before. And also we know many things that other people do not know. And many things come to us just like gift from heaven. Sometimes financially, sometimes, career-wise, and sometimes many other things. And we begin to be able to write poems, or maybe we can draw pictures, and we can do something that we did not, and we have not been able to do before. Who can imagine we could? We can do that. That's the first level. And we could write poems and write books with a beautiful style. And we could have been a non-professional writer before, but we could write now, for example. These are very material benefit that we can get when we are in the first level of consciousness. Actually, these things are not God's gift. These things is inherent inside us, and only because we have awakened them, they become alive, and then we can make use of them. So this is some of the information about the first level. It's okay? You want to hear more? Yes, all right. Have you heard this before? You have? Yes, you did? Who told you? Huh? Oh, yeah? And then does he say something else? Okay. Now when we go to the higher level, for example, then we see many other things and we achieve many other things. Of course, I cannot tell you everything, yes? Because time, for example, also it's not necessary to listen to all the beautiful things about cakes and candies and never eat it. Therefore, I just kind of advertise a little bit. And if you want to eat them, that is another thing. We can offer real food later on, yes. Just in case you want to eat these things. Now, if we go a little bit beyond this level to the second level, what we call second, just for the sake of a simplified matter, The second level, then we will probably have a lot more abilities than the first one, and including the miracles. But the most striking achievement we can have in the second level is that the eloquence, and the ability to debate. And no one seems to be able to conquer a person who has achieved the second level because he has a tremendous power of eloquence, and his intellect is at the peak of his power. Most of the people who has ordinary mind, a very simple IQ, cannot match this person because his IQ has opened to a very high degree. But it is not only the physical brain that has been developed more. It is the mystical power. This is the heavenly power, the wisdom that is inherent inside us now begin to open. In India, people call this level Buddhi, means intellectual level. And when you achieve Buddhi, you become a Buddha. That's where the word Buddha came from. Buddhi and Buddha. Now, so the Buddha is precisely just that. It's not finished, It's not finished, please. I'm not going to introduce you to the Buddha only. There are more than that, okay? So most of the people call an enlightened person a Buddha. If he doesn't know about it, if he doesn't know beyond the second level, he'll probably feel very proud about it. Yes, thinking that he's a living Buddha, and his disciples, they would be very proud calling him Buddha. But actually, if he only achieved the second level, which he can see through the past, present, and future of any person he chooses to see, and if he has, in which he has an absolute eloquence of speech, then it's not yet the end of the kingdom of God. And any person should not be proud of this ability of reading into the past, present, and future, because there's this Akashic record. What do you know in the Western terminology? All of you who practice yogas or some kind of meditation would understand Akashic record, which is a kind of library, like the one we have next door in the UN, with all kind of languages in it. You see Arabic, Russian, Chinese, English, French, German, everything in your library next door, all kind of languages. And so you have the ability to read all these languages, you know what's going on in that country, understand? So similarly, the one who has access to the second level, he would understand. He can interpret the pattern of a person very clearly, the way you see your own biography. There are much more to be gained from the second level of consciousness. But when one reaches the second level, it is already fantastic, already a living Buddha. Because you have opened the body, the intellect. And we know many things that we could not name And every so-called miracles would happen to us, whether we want it or not. Because our intellect just open and just know how to contact the higher source of healing, of arranging, so that our life will become smoother, and better. And our intellect or buddhi has opened so that it can have access to all the information necessary from the past and from the present in order to arrange and to rearrange or kind of make up for something we did wrong in the past, in a sense, so that to correct the mistake and then to make our life better. For example, if we did not know that we have offended our neighbor by some unintentional action, and now we know, in a sense, very easy. If we did not know, then the neighbor kept silently against us and trying to do something sometimes behind us in order to harm us because of misunderstanding or because we did something wrong to the neighbor. But now we know. Now we know why it happened. So it's easy. We can go to the neighbor, or we can telephone, or we can have a party, invite the neighbor in, and then we clear the misunderstanding. Similar things when we get to the intellectual level, we automatically and silently understand all this and silently arrange all this. Or contact with some source of power which could help us to arrange these things to to better our way of life, to better our course of life. So we minimize many accidents, many unwelcome situations and unfavorable condition of our life. Understand? Yes. Therefore, when we got to the second level, it is fantastic already. Therefore, what I have explained to you is very scientific and very logical. And no need to think that a yogi or a meditation person is some kind of a mystical person or an ET, extraterrestrial. They are terrestrial beings, like any one of us, who are developed, because they know how. In America, we say everything depends on know-how. So we can learn everything, right? We can learn everything. So this is a kind of beyond this world science, which we could learn also. And it sounds very strange, but the higher the things, the more simple. It's more simple than we go to high school or college with all these very complicated mathematical questions and problems. Yes. The second level, that's many different levels also. Within the second level, there are many levels too, But I just make it brief because I cannot be detailed. The secret of heaven. Anyhow, you will know all this also when you travel along with a master who has already traveled. Yes. So it's no secret. But it's too long, if we have to stop in each level, which have a lot of levels, sub-levels, and have to examine everything, it takes too long. So sometimes the master just takes you briefly, from one level after another, very fast. Yes, because if you have nothing to do with mastership, then you don't need to learn so much. It'll give you a headache. Yeah. Therefore, just take you through and back home. Because even then, it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes a whole lifetime. But enlightenment we get immediately. But that is only starting. Just like enrolling, The first day you enroll in the university, you become immediately the university student. But that has nothing to do with PhD. After 6 years, 4 years, or 12 years, then you graduate. But you immediately became, university student. If that is a real university. And if you enroll, you truly earnest the one wanting to become a university student, right? So both sides has to cooperate. Similarly, if we want to go beyond this world, for example, just say for fun, because we have nowhere else to go in New York. We have known everything about Manhattan, Long Beach, Short Beach, and every beach. Now suppose we want to take a trip to the ET's place, yes, and see what's going on, all right? Why not, since we pay a lot of money to go to Miami, Florida, just to have a bath in the sea, so why couldn't we sometimes go to different worlds, beyond this world, to see what is our neighbor planets look like? And how do the people fare themselves over there? I don't think there's anything strange about that, no? It's just a kind of a little bit further traveling. And mental traveling, spiritual traveling, instead of physical traveling. There are two kinds of travel. So it's very, very logical and very easy to understand. No. We were at the second level. Okay, second level. What else should I tell you? So that's how we continue in this world, but then we have the knowledge of the other world at the same time. You understand? Because we travel. Just like you are an American citizen, or you are any other citizens of the world, but then you travel from one country to another just to know what the neighbor country looks like. And I guess many of you in the United Nations are not Native Americans, no? Yes. So you know now. The same thing. We can travel to the next planets or the next level of life in order to understand. Because the distance is so great, so we cannot walk, we cannot take rockets, or we cannot take even a UFO. Some worlds are longer than UFOs could fly. A UFO? Unidentified object? Yeah, okay. A flying object, yes. Now there are a facility within us which is faster than any UFO can fly. This is our own soul. We call spirit sometimes, yes. And we can fly with these without any floor, without any police, traffic jam or anything at all. And no need to worry that one day the Arab doesn't sell oil to us. Because it is self-sufficient, yes. Never go out of order, yes. Except when we want to damage it. By violating the universal precepts. Violating the harmony of heaven and earth. Which is very simple to avoid. We will tell you how, if you are interested to know. For example, I'll be brief, okay? I'm not a preacher, don't worry. I don't take you to the church. It's just, for example, there are some laws in the universe that we should know. Just like when we drive the car, we must know the law of the traffic. Yeah. Red light, you stop. Green light, we go. We drive left on the drive exit the highway, how much speed. Yes. So there are some very simple law in the universe. In the physical universe, you understand? Beyond our world, beyond this physical universe, there's no law. No law at all. We're free. Free citizen. But we have to get beyond that in order to be free. And as long as we still live in this world, in a physical body, we should, as much as possible, to keep within the law so we don't get into trouble. And that our vehicles don't get damaged. So we can fly faster, higher, without problem. Yes. So these laws have been written in the Bible, of your Christian Bible, and in the Buddhist Bible, or in the Hindu's Bible, yeah? The very simple one, like we don't harm the neighbors, we don't kill, and thou shalt not kill, and then not commit, outside loving relationship, and not stealing, etc., and not taking intoxicant. That's included the drugs today. Probably the Buddha knew that in the 20th century we will invent cocaine or that. So he said no drug. Yes, the drug has included all kind of gambling and anything that make our mind say attached to the physical pleasure and forgot the spiritual journey. If we want to fly fast, high, and without danger, these are physical law, just like the law of physics. When a rocket wants to fly, the scientists had to observe certain law. That is all. Okay. So how much more must we be careful because we want to fly higher than that, higher than the rockets can fly, faster than the UFO. But there are some more details that could be explained should you be interested, and that would be at the time of initiation. Now we don't want to make you bored with all these precepts, which you say, I know already, I read it in the Bible. 10 precepts, right? 10 commandments. Actually, many of us read the precepts, but do not very deeply concerned with it, or not deeply understand. Or maybe we want to understand it the way we do, but not the way it exactly means. Therefore, it doesn't harm sometimes to remind us or to listen to a little bit of deeper meaning of that again. For example, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the first page, God said, I made all the animals, to befriend you and to help you, and you shall rule over them. And then he makes all the food for the animals, each one a different kind. Yes, but he didn't tell us to eat them, no. And he say, I make all the fruit, all the herbs in the field, and the fruits on the trees, which are, delicious to the taste and, pleasing to the eyes. These shall be your food. But not many people pay attention to that. And so, many of the Bible followers are still eating flesh, without understanding what God truly meant. Yes. And if we come into a deeper scientific research, then we will know that we're not for flesh eating. Our system, our intestine, our stomach, our teeth, everything is scientifically made for vegetarian diet only. No wonder most of people get sick, get old fast, get fatigued, and get, sluggish. When they were born so brilliant and intelligent, and they end up a little bit duller each day, and the older they get, the worse they feel. It's because we damage our vehicles, our flying object, our UFO. So if we like to use this vehicle a little bit longer and safer, then we have to take care of it in the proper way. Now, for example, we have a car. you all drive cars. Now, if you put the wrong petrol in it, how would it happen? What will happen? It would drive just a few probably feet and then stop, and you don't blame the car. We mistakenly put some fuel which doesn't belong there, Or if our petrol has some water in it, right? It probably can run for a while, but it has trouble, right? Or if our oil has become too dirty and we didn't clean it, and then it will run for a while, but then we have trouble. And sometimes it explodes just because we didn't look after our car in a proper manner, right? Yes. Similarly, our body is like a vehicle which we can use to fly from here to eternity, to the very high level of scientific wisdom. But sometimes we damage it, and we don't use it for the proper purpose. For example, our car is to drive many miles, to bring us to the office, to our friends, and to a different beautiful scenery. But then we don't look after it. We put wrong petrol in, we don't take care of the oil, we don't take care of the water tank, everything. And then it doesn't run very fast. It doesn't run very long, and then we just run around in our lawn, in the circle of our backyard. That's all right also, you understand? But just we waste our purpose of buying a car. It's just a waste of money and time and our energy, that's all. No one is to be blamed, and no police will charge you anything for that. It's just that you waste your car, waste your money, when you could go very far and see many things and enjoy the different scenery. Yes. Similarly, our physical body, we can live in this world, yes, but then we can take care that within this physical body, we have other instruments that we can fly beyond that. Just like an astronaut, he sits in the rocket, the rocket is his instrument. He should take good care that he should not violate the physics law so that his rocket will fly safe and fast. But the astronaut inside is important. Yes, that rocket brings him to his destination. But the rocket is not, you understand, it's not the main object, the astronaut, the destination. Yes. And should he use that just to run around Long Island, then it's also a waste of time, understand, a waste of money of the nation. So therefore, our body is very precious because within it sits the master. That's why in the Bible it says, know you not that you are the temple of God. And Almighty God dwells within you, the Holy Spirit, the same thing. If we house the Holy Spirit or the Almighty God, can you imagine how terrible is that? How terribly significant. But many people read this verse but do not understand, do not realize the greatness of this sentence, and do not try to find out. So this is why my disciples, they like to follow my teaching, because they can find out who sits inside and what lies beyond this world. Apart from our everyday struggle and money earning and striking and all these physical problems, we have more beauty, more freedom, more knowledge within. And should we know the proper way to contact this is all ours, because we have them inside. It's just because we don't know where the key is, and we locked this house for a long time, and now we've forgotten that we have this treasure, that's all. So the so-called master is the one who can help us to open the door, and show us what is originally already belonged to us. But we have to take time and walk into it and check every item that we have. So anyhow, we were in the second world, right? And are you interested to go further? You want to know everything without working? Without working. All right. But at least somebody could tell you what another country looked like when he has been there, even though you haven't, right? At least you're interested. Maybe you want to go. Okay. So now after the second world, I haven't finished on the second, but we cannot sit here all day long. So after the second, you may have more power if you're determined and work for it. You will go to the third. The so-called third world is a higher step. The one who goes to the third world has to be absolutely clean of every debt of this world. At least, you understand? If we own something to the king of this physical world, we cannot go up. Just like if you are a criminal of some nation, you're not clear of the record, you cannot pass beyond the border to go to another nation. So the debt of this world, including many things that we have done in the past and in the present, and maybe in the future days of our physical life. Now all these have to be cleared, just like we clear the custom, before we can go into the world beyond. But when we are in the second world, we start to work, understand, with any leftover karma of the past and this present life. Because without past karma, we cannot exist in this present life. The master have two different categories. One, without karma, but he borrows the karma to come down. The other one is like us, ordinary being, but with cleansed karma. So anyone could be a would-be master, a future master. And sometimes the master descends from the higher world with borrowed karma. How does it sound to you to borrow the karma? It's possible, it's possible. For example, before you came down here, you have been here before, yes? And then you have give and take with different people of this world for many ages or many hundred years. And then you go back to heaven, to your abode, which is very far away. Different levels, at least to the 5th level. That's the house of the master, the 5th level. But beyond that, there are more levels, Okay. Now, so when we want to come back again, due to compassion or some assigned job from the father, for example, then we come down. And because of the affinity with the people in the past, we could borrow some of their account, karma, only debt, nothing beautiful about the people. We can borrow some debt and then we pay it, understand, by our spiritual power. Slowly, until we finish the job in this world. So this is a different kind of masters, And they're also one who immediately from this world, after they practice, they became master here. It's like they graduate, Therefore, in the university, just like we have professors, and have the students who graduate and become professor afterward. Understand? The long time professors and newly graduated professors, etc. Similar, that this kind of master. So now, if we want to go to the third world, we must be absolutely clean of every trace of karma. Karma is the law of, as you sow, so shall you reap, Just like we plant an orange seed, then we get orange. An apple seed, we have apple. So these are the so-called karma. It's a Sanskrit language for course and retribution. The Bible doesn't talk about karma, but it says, as you sow, so shall you reap. That's the same thing. Bible is the shortened form of the teaching of the master. And anyhow, his life was also a shortened form. Therefore, we don't have much explanation in the Bible. And many of the Bible versions has been also censored in order to suit the so-called leaders of these movements. Not necessarily always spiritually minded people. Yes, in every kind of aspects, people sell and buy everything. Brokers. They're brokers of every aspect in life. But the Bible, the true Bible we know, is a little bit different. Yes, a little bit longer, more precise, and more easy to understand. Easier to understand. Anyhow, because we cannot prove much of it, so we don't talk about it in case people say we are blasphemy. So we can only say something that we can prove. Okay. And you would ask me, then you talk about this second world, third world, and fourth world. How can you prove it? Well, I can prove it. If you walk along with me the same path, you see the same thing. Understand? But if you don't walk, then I cannot prove to you. And that's of course. Therefore, I dare talk about these things because there is proof. There's proof. We have proof with hundreds of thousands of disciples around the world, so we can say things that we know. Now, for example, if we go to, but this you have to walk with me, You have to walk, Otherwise you cannot say, well, you walk for me and tell me, show me everything. I cannot. For example, if I'm not in the United Nations in this room, doesn't matter how much you tell about this room, I'm not actually experienced it, right? So we have to walk with whomever is experienced guides, And I have some of the disciples in this room who has different nationalities. They have some of this experience that I have just told you, and partly and some fully, yes. And so, after the third word, this by no means everything. What I tell you is it's just a part of things. That's kind of a traveling story and relating things in a small portion and not very detailed. Even when we read books about some country, it's not the actual country, right? Therefore, we have many books about traveling, about different countries in the world, but we still like to go ourselves over there, right? We know about Spain and Tenerife and Greeks, but these are only movies or only books. We have to go there and to actually experience the joy of being there, and the food that they offer, and the delicious water of the sea, and the beautiful weather, and the friendly people, and all kind of atmosphere that we cannot experience by reading books. So, anyhow, suppose you have passed the third word, and what next? Of course, you go to the higher, the fourth. And the fourth word is already out of extraordinary. And we cannot just use the simple language to describe all these things to the lay persons, for fearing of offending the Lord of that word, because that word is so beautiful. Even though there's some part of it is very dark, darker than an electric cut night in New York. Have you experienced the whole complete city in darkness? Yes, it's darker than that. But before you reach the light, it's darker than that. It's a kind of forbidden city. Before we reach God's knowledge, we are stopped over there. But with a master, with an experienced master, you can pass through. Otherwise, we cannot find the road in that kind of world. When we reach different levels of plan of existence, we have experienced not only spiritually changes, but physical change also, intellectual change, and everything else in our life. We look at life different manner, we work differently, we work differently. Even our work, our daily work, takes on a different meaning. And we understand why we work this way, why we have to be in this job, or why should we change the job. We understand our purpose of life. So we no longer feel restless and agitated, but we wait very harmoniously, patiently, for our mission on earth to finish, because we know where we're going next. We know while we're living. That's what it say, dying or living. Yes. And I suppose some of you have heard of something like this before, but I don't know any master who can speak differently. Except that we have to experience the actual joy of the inner experiences. Yes. How can anyone who describe a Mercedes-Benz differently, right? It has the same thing. So any people who own a Mercedes-Benz or who knows Benz, he would describe the same thing, understand? But that is not the Benz. So even though I speak to you in a very ordinary language, but these are not ordinary things. And these are the things we have to experience by ourselves, with work, sincerity, and with the guidance. Yes. It's safer that way. Although it perhaps happens 1 in a million that we can make it ourselves, but with danger, with risk, and with a very I would say, not secured result. Not very safe. Some of the people in the past, for example, Swedenborg, he had kind of made it himself. Or maybe Guru Chief, he's supposed to make it himself. Go all the way alone. But when I read some of people, this work, they have not been without danger and a lot of trouble. And it's not necessary all of them reach the highest level. So after that, you go to a higher level. Not after the fourth, you go to the higher level, the house of the master, which is the fifth level. All the master came from there. Even though their level are higher than the fifth, they will stay there. It's a residence of the master. And beyond that, there are many aspects of God which is difficult to understand. I am afraid to confuse you. So probably another time I will tell you. Or maybe after initiation and you had a little bit more prepared, then I will tell you some terrific things about your imagination. How sometimes it plays wrong about many ideas about God. So I welcome some questions, should there be any. And you're welcome to throw me out also if it's too boring for you. I'm also happy to go. Any question, please? Yes.
You said that the master can borrow people's karma.
Yeah.
In that case, the karma is erased for these people. What is the consequence for the people?
The karma is what?
Erased?
Yes. Oh, the master can erase anybody's karma. If that's what the master chooses to do. In fact, all the disciples, at the time of initiation, all the karma in the past has to be erased. John only lived the present karma, so we can go on to continue with this life, otherwise we die immediately. No karma cannot live here. Therefore, the master has to erase the store karma only, so the person is clean. And leave a little bit of karma for him to continue this life, to do what he has to do in this life. And after this is finished, that's why he can go. Otherwise, how can he go? Even if he's clean this life, how clean? And how about last lives? You understand? Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Very challenging question. So I think you have been very attentive. Okay. Any more, please? Yes, next one. Yes.
What is the goal of your practice?
What is the goal? I haven't told you. To travel beyond this world, go back to the kingdom of God, know your wisdom, and be a better person in this life even. Yes.
And is there karma in all the realms?
Not all the realms, up to the second realms only, because our mind, our brain, the computer, is manufactured in that second plane. When we go down all the way from the higher plane down to this physical plane, supposed to do some work, right? For example, even the master go from the fifth plane up to the physical world. Then he has to go through the second plane and pick up this computer and fix it in order to work in this world. Just like a diver, who dives into the sea, he has to go through a preparation of a mask, of oxygen and everything. Even though he himself doesn't look so ridiculous, but when he wears the oxygen mask and diving clothes, he looks like a frog, But that's how we look like sometimes with all this computer and the physical hindrance. Otherwise, we are absolutely beautiful. Even though you think you're beautiful now, you're so ugly compared to what you really are. Understand? Because of all the instruments that we have to wear in order to dive deep into this world to work. So after we pass the second level to go upward, we have to leave our computer there. We don't need it up there anymore. So just like when a diver reaches the shore, he discards all his oxygen mask and all his equipment to dive. Yeah, and he looks the way he was. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. You said that at the second world, before going, that you leave all of your karma behind.
Yeah.
Or you have resolved or cleaned all your karma.
Yes.
Does that mean that also all the karma of the past lives that you come into this life with too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because no computer to register anything. We only have karma because we have this computer, the mind, the brain, which is meant to record every experience of the physical world. That's why we have it. Bad or good, we register it in here. That's what we call karma. Karma is what? Just experiences. Bad or good. Our reaction, our learning experiences in many lifetimes. And because we have a kind of so-called conscience, we know we should be good, and sometimes we did bad. Therefore, we call that is karma. And the bad things weigh down on us, just like a lot of garbage, luggage, because the law of gravity, it pulls us down and makes us difficult to climb the mountain. Understand? Because of a lot of moral disciplines in this world, a lot of rules, a lot of customs, lots of habits in different nations, bind us within this kind of so-called conceptions of good and bad, guilt and innocence. Therefore, when we interact with people of this world, we have experiences of good and bad, guilt and innocence, according to the custom, habit of that nation, the law of that nation. Understand? And it becomes a habit that we think that way, that we do this, we're guilty, we do that, we're a bad person. And this always recorded in here, and that's what makes us transmigrate and make us bound into this physical world. Or a little bit higher world, but not high enough. We're free enough. We're not light enough to float above. You understand? Because of all this preconception.
Is it predetermined that we will reach a certain level each lifetime when we are born?
No, we have free will to run faster or slower. Yes. For example, your car. You put in 100 liters of petrol. I don't know how much you put in a car. I don't ride a car, but you can go faster with it. Yeah, and reach the destination quicker, or you go slower. Okay, it's up to you. Yes. The gentleman next door. Oh, you want to speak more? Yes. No.
Well, I want to ask you, the angels.
The angels.
What level?
What level are they? Oh, depends on what kind of angels.
Guardian angels.
Guardian angels. Oh, they could be up to the second level. Angels are less than human beings. Less prestige. They are there to serve us.
They will never go beyond that?
No. Except when they can become human beings. They are very envious of human beings because God's dwells within them. We have all the facilities to become one with God. The angel doesn't. It's complicated. I'll talk to you another day. Okay? There are things made for our use also, you see? The different kind of angels, yes? For example, if it's made by God, then it's made to serve us. You understand? And they don't have to go beyond that. Understand? But they could, yes. Sometimes something is made without a proper arrangement to improve. You understand? Yes. For example, in your house, something you make for your own comfort. You understand? Even though it's very fantastic. For example, you sit here and you can turn the light off and on all over your houses and garden and turn on and off the TV because you invented it for yourself. But it's only to serve you. Because even though it's better than yours in some aspect, Like, it can sit here and control everything, and you cannot do that by human effort. But that doesn't mean it's better than you. Understand? It's made for the sole purpose of serving you, even though it's better than you, but it's not. Okay? All right. It can never be human being, the computer. Okay? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Master Ching, I want to know that because we are in the body now, could it be that we could have fallen from being liberated from this body before? Have we always been in this state? Or have we...
in a different state before,
have we been in a better state before? Or just in this state? And what is a good attitude or a good disposition to quickly move ahead?
To quit the body and move ahead?
Yes.
Yes, we can if we know how. Yes, there are many different methods for leaving the body behind and go beyond this world. Some go not far, some go very far, and some go to the end. So according to the comparison that I have made with my different research since I was young, you know, I look still young now, but I was young then, you know. Our method here is the best. Yeah, go to the farthest one, the far end. And there are many other methods. If you choose to experience, you can choose. There are many in the market. And some go to the astral world, some go to the second world, some go to the furthest, the third or the fourth. But not many can go to the fifth. Yeah. So our method, our practice, is to take you to the fifth before we set you free. Understand? Let you go alone. And beyond that, we can approach a different aspect of God beyond the fifth plane. But it's not always pleasant. Yes. We always imagine that the higher the better. It's not always true. For example, sometimes we go into a beautiful palace and we were invited into the living room of the master. We sat there and we served good drinks and beautiful eating and everything. And then we thought we should go a little bit deeper into the house, have a look. And then we would venture into the garbage place and, you know, many other things in the house. It's not always important, yeah? And also into a powerhouse. You know, we went to the electricity house, which is behind the house, beyond the house, and we got shocked and we died there. So it's not always necessary or recommendable to go into deeper. But we could do that for the sake of adventure. Yeah, okay?
Master Ching, hi. It's sort of like two questions. One is, what world do past life memories come from, if you were to have a memory of past life? And secondly, how do past lives relate to karma?
Yeah, to your present, right? To your karma?
To present karma and to one's present understanding. Are they part of the excess baggage that you spoke?
Yes, they relate very much. Okay, first question, where do the past karma come from?
Past life remembrance.
Yes, you can read the past life record, that's for sure. And the past life records, as I told you, came from the Akashic record, yes. And this is a kind of a library in the second world, which is accessible to anyone who can reach there. Yeah. Not everyone can go to the United Nations Library and have access to it, but I can, for example, today, because I'm invited to talk in the United Nations, right? Not everyone can come in, but you can, because you are kind of residents here, right? So, similarly, when we get access to the second world, we can read the past life, yeah? Also, when we access into the first world, some of it, we can have some glimpse of the past life of a person, but that's not very high and not very complete record. And how do these past life experiences relate to the present karma? We can say that these are the experiences we have learned in order to cope with this present lifetime. You understand? What you assimilate in the past, you will bring into practice at this present lifetime. And similarly to many unpleasant experience in the past would make you feel frightened when you see some symbol that is very much similar to the present to the past life. For example, if last life, just now, you drop off from the staircase, yeah, by accident, and then hurt yourself badly, and in the dark and nobody helped you. And now when you walk down the staircase, you will feel a little bit frightened, especially when it's deep and dark underneath. You will feel kind of struggle, whether to go or not. If last life you have already studied and researched deep into some scientific field, this life you will find yourself still very interested. So you feel still you have a kind of a pull, to any kind of scientific research, even though you're not a scientist now. Any kind of thing like that. That's why Mozart, he was so a genius when he was 4 years old. He went straight to the piano, and he became famous up to now still. Yeah, he was a genius because he has practiced in many other lifetimes until mastership. But then he died after that. And he said before he reached the peak of his career, he died, and he wasn't satisfied just to live his career because he loved music. So he came back, and all his learned experience from the past musical talent came back to him because he had so strong desire to continue when he died. Understand? And some of these people learn many things from the astral worlds or the second worlds before they are reborn in this world again. Therefore, they're fantastically gifted with science or with music or with literature or with any kind of inventions which other people don't know. See, kind of very extraordinary invention that other people cannot understand it and cannot even dream of invented. Okay, because they've seen them, they've learned them. Therefore, two kinds of learning in this world or in the world beyond. Those who are gifted and excellent, like genius, they are the expert from the world beyond, like in the astral world, the second world, sometimes from the third world, if he chose to come back. Yeah, they are excellent. These are genius. Okay, yes.
Specifically, what does your initiation involve? And once one is initiated, what the day-to-day practice involve?
Yes. First of all, it's all free of charge. And no binding involved. Except that you have to bind yourself should you want to continue to go further. So the condition, no experience required. Yeah, no previous knowledge about any yoga or any meditation required. But then you have to commit yourself to a lifelong vegetarian diet. No eggs, anything else without killing is okay. Eggs because it's also involved with half killing, even though it's infertile. And also it has kind of quality to have a tendency to attract negative power. That's why many people of the black and white magicians field or many voodoos people, some voodoos, they use eggs to draw some of the entities from possessed persons. If you know it or not, oh, that's fantastic. At least I have immediate proof, if not immediate enlightenment. And after initiation, the time of initiation, you experience the light and the sound of God, yeah? The musical of the spirit. It draws you up in a higher level of consciousness. You will understand the taste of samadhi, the deep peace and joy, yes. And after that, you continue to practice at home, if you're serious. If you're not, I cannot push you, I cannot bother you anymore. If you continue and you want me to help you all the way, then I continue. If you do not, you see, that's the way. And 2.5 hours a day, meditation. Wake up early in the morning, before you sleep, meditate, 2 hours. And maybe half an hour at lunchtime. When I'm not here to speak, you have 1 hour lunch, you can hide away somewhere and meditate. That's already 1 hour, yeah? And in the evening, you make 1 hour or half an hour. In the morning, get up earlier, 1 hour. Regulate more of your life, less TV, less gossip, less telephone, less newspapers. Then you have a lot of time. Yes, truly we have a lot of time. But sometimes we waste away our time. Just like our car running in the backyard instead of going to Long Island. Yeah. Are you satisfied with that? Oh, yes, yes. And nothing more, no condition for you, nothing else, except you commit yourself to this lifelong practice. And every day you experience different changes for the better and different miracles for your life. Not that you wish for it. It will happen anyhow. Understand? And that you truly experience what's heaven like on earth, if you're really serious about it. And that's how many hundreds of thousands of our disciples still hang on, still hang on to me after many years, yes. Because they have better and better experience, because they're serious about it and they do practice. Yes, please. Yeah, in front of, right behind, yes. Gentleman first.
Please explain the nature of consciousness.
Nature of consciousness, okay. It's hard to explain, but you could use your intelligence to imagine. It's a kind of wisdom, like you know something better than you ever did before. Yes, you know something that is beyond this world. And you know something in this world which you did not know before. And you understand many things that you do not understand or did not understand before. This is a consciousness. And also, when you open this consciousness or the so-called wisdom, you will understand truly who you are and why you're here and what else beyond this world. And who else beyond, apart from our worldly, citizens. Yes, understand? There are many things. So the level of consciousness is a kind of a different degree of understanding. Just like a graduation in college. The more you learn, the more you know. Until graduation. Are you satisfied? It's difficult to explain something that is abstract, but I have tried. The lady in the front. It's a kind of awareness, It's difficult to explain. Awareness. When you go to different, higher level of consciousness, your awareness is different. You know things different. You feel different. You feel just absolutely in peace, tranquil, blissful. You have no worry. And everything in your daily life becomes clearer to you. You know how to handle things and how to take care of problems better. Even it benefits already in the physical level. And inside you, how you feel, that's only you know. It's difficult to explain these things. Just like you're married to the girl you love, how you feel, that only you know. No one else can feel it for you. Yes.
Honorable Master, thank you for the insight you have given us. I wonder if you would like to address yourself to something that is in my conscience. Why are so many masters in Earth today giving us a chance to learn so quickly, if in the past it has been so difficult? Would you like to address yourself to that?
Yes, sure. Because in our times, the communication is better, so we know better about the masters. Not that in the past, master did not exist, or master is inaccessible. Of course, it is true that some masters are more accessible than the others. It depends on his choice, or his willing to give, or his affinity with the people at large. But then in any age, always there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 masters. Depends on the need of the time. Just we are more aware of the presence of many different masters, maybe different degree of masters. Because in this time, we are fortunate to have the mass media, to have television, to have radio, broadcast, and books, which we print in millions and thousands of millions of copies in no time. Yes, in the olden time, we want to print a book. We have to cut the whole tree down first and chop them with very unsophisticated axe, which is kaput in no time and no use in another time. I have to polish it with stones and all kinds of things, and to carve one word after another. And when you want to transfer a whole set of Bible, it takes a whole convoy. You understand? Big trucks, if you have a truck at that time. So that's why we know of many masters. You understand? Yes. So it's lucky. It's just very good for you that you can shop. You can choose what you want. So no one will be able to teach you and say I'm the best. Yeah, you can have comparison and use your wisdom and intelligence to judge. Oh, this one's better. Oh, I like that one better. The face is so terrible. That one. Yes.
So my question to you then would be, since you have talked about shopping, would you consider initiating someone who has been initiated by another master?
I would, only if that person truly believes that I am more able to take her or him to a higher level and faster. Otherwise, it is better to stick to one's own master if one still feels very much attached and very much having much faith in that master. If you believe your master is the best already, then don't change. If you still have doubt, and if you still haven't got the light and sound, which I have mentioned, then you should try. Yes, because light and sound is the standard measurement for a real master. If anyone will not be able to impart you immediate light or sound, it's not a real master. I'm sorry to say. The road to heaven is equipped with light and sound. Just like you have to go to dive into the sea, you have to be equipped with oxygen mask and all that. There are things for different purposes. Okay. That's why you see all the saints with a halo on them. Huh? That's light. When you practice this method, you radiate the same light, like they draw on the picture of Jesus, and people can see it. If the people were psychic, they can see your light. That's why they draw Jesus with the halo, and they draw Buddha with the light around them. You can see your practitioners in high degree with this light, if you opened. Many people can see that. Have any of you see this here? You? What did you see? Yeah, but auras are different from light. Auras are different colors. Sometimes black, sometimes coffee color. Yeah, and sometimes a yellow or red, depends on his temperament at that time. But when you see a person with a strong spiritual aura, you know it's different, right? Yeah. So the lady behind, give her. Yes, that one. Yes. What?
I don't really have a question. I used to do Raja Yoga.
Raja Yoga, yeah.
And I thought I saw also auras, and at that time I didn't have much knowledge.
Understanding. And you don't see it now? You only see it sometimes?
No, I don't meditate now.
Oh, that's why you lost your power. Should meditate again, huh?
Yeah.
If you still believe in that path, you should meditate. it helps you to some extent. It would not harm.
I saw in your leaflet that there are 5 precepts.
Yes.
Are these once you're initiated, you have to
Keep-
live according to these
Yes,
5
yes, yes.
precepts?
These are the laws of the
How do you
universe.
understand sexual misconduct?
It means if you have a husband already, please don't consider the second. Very simple. Keep your life more simple, no complication, and quarreling over emotion. Yes, like cause hurt feeling for other people. We don't harm other people even emotionally. That's what it is. Yes, we try to avoid conflicts, try to avoid suffering, emotionally, physically, mentally, for everyone, especially our loved one. That's all. And if you already have one, don't tell him. It hurts more when you tell. Just solve it slowly and quietly, and don't confess to him. Because sometimes people think if they have an affair and then they go home and confess with his wife or his husband, that's very wise and very honest. It's nonsense. No good. You already make mistake. Why you bring garbage home and to let other people enjoy it? If he doesn't know about it, he doesn't feel that bad. You understand? The fact of knowing hurts. So we try to solve that problem and not to have it again, and that's it. Better not to talk to the partner about this, because it will hurt them, hurt the partners. Yeah.
I have noticed that many spiritual masters have a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
What is the relationship of humor in spiritual practice?
Oh, I see. I guess they're just feeling happy and relaxing and light-hearted about everything, and they could laugh at themselves and laugh at others, laugh about ridiculous things in this life with so many people cling so tensely and taken so seriously. After we practice, somehow we just get loose, we don't feel so serious anymore. If we die tomorrow, we die. If we live, If we lost everything, we lost everything. If we have everything, we have everything. Yes, we have enough wisdom and ability after enlightenment to take care of ourselves in every situation, so we're not scared of anything. We lose our fear, we lose our anxiety, and that's why we relax. We feel detached to this world. Whatever we gain or lose doesn't mean much anymore. If we gain a lot of things, it's only for the benefit of people, then we offer. And for the benefit of loved ones. Otherwise, we don't consider ourselves on our life that important to go through all of the struggles and suffering to preserve it. If we preserve it, it's all right. It doesn't mean we sit in bed all day on the nail bed and meditate. but we do work, you understand? For example, I still work. I do my painting and my handicraft works to earn my living. So I don't want to take donation from anyone. And even my earnings so much, I can help people. I can help the refugees, the disaster victims and all that. Well, why shouldn't we work? But we have so much talent and abilities. And life is so easy for us after enlightenment that we feel just no need to worry. You understand? We just naturally relax, and that's how the sense of humor are born. I guess that's what it is, huh? Yes. Do you find me humorous? Yes. Then maybe I must be a master of some kind, huh? Okay. Let's hope so for your sake, huh? So that you didn't listen to an enlightened person for 2 hours. Waste your time. Okay, any more questions?
Mr. Ching, a rush of questions are flooding my mind, and I'll just say them all and you can answer any of them.
Okay, and 108.
And they're questions that we as seeking souls always answer, and we get theories and stories, and I'd just like to hear what you have to say about them. The first is, who are we? Who am I? How did I get to be in the predicament that I have to get back home? How did I leave home? And why is it important to go back home? And you talked about going back to the 5th realm, and not necessarily it being important going further than that. But if there is a further than that, then what is the purpose of it? What relationship does it have to me if I don't necessarily have to go back there? Those kinds of questions.
Okay, so one at a time. Okay, I think I answer this group of questions first. Okay, so the first group consisted of who are you? Why are you here? And why you have to go home? And why the 5th and not the 6th? Right? Simple. Okay, let's get numerous now. Okay, pertaining to the question of who am I, you can go and ask the Zen master, which is abound in New York State. You can look at the yellow page and find one. I'm not specialized in that. And the second, why are you here? Maybe because you like to be here. Or else who can force us to be here? Since we are the children of God. The so-called children of God is like God himself. No? A prince is similar to the king. In some aspect, or more or less like the king or the future king. So only when he likes to be somewhere, then he'll be there. Anyhow, we have free will to choose to be in heaven or to be in somewhere else, to experience for ourselves. That's probably you have chose to be here in the beginning, many ages ago. To learn something more adventurous, something more frightening. Some people love thrilling experiences, For example, the prince, he can be in the palace, but he could be wandering in the jungle, because he loved to be exploring things in the nature. It could be that way. It could be that we were so bored in heaven, because everything was made ready and served to our palace door, so we want to do something for ourselves. Just like the royal households, sometimes they want to cook for themselves, and they don't want a servant to be near. And they smear themselves with ketchup and oil all over places, but they love it. Doesn't look very princely, but they love it. Yes. So, for example, I have people who drive for me. Everywhere I go, people would love to be my driver. But sometimes I like to drive myself. I drive on my small tricycle, non-smoking tricycle. Yeah, electric, plug in 10 miles an hour. No, 10 kilometers an hour. And I like to go around like that. Yeah, and sometimes I like to, because everywhere I go, people notice me a lot. So sometimes I like to go somewhere that people don't know me. I'm very shy, except when I have to talk in a lecture, because it's become kind of duty now. Since people dug me out and made me famous up to now, I cannot run away so often. But sometimes I do run away, for 2-3 months. Just like a pampered wife run away from husband. And so it's my choice, you see. So perhaps you have chosen to be here for a while, and perhaps it's time now that you want to go, because you have learned enough of this world, and you feel there's nothing more that you want to learn, and you're tired of traveling. You want to rest. Go home, have a rest first, and then see whether you want to go again or not on an adventurous journey. Okay, that's all I can say up to now. And why do you have to go home? And why the 5th, not the 6th? That's up to you. After the 5th, you can go anywhere you want. There are many more levels upward. You understand? But it's just more comfortable, more neutral to stay there. It's too powerful, longer upward. maybe like that. You can go for a while, but you wouldn't like to rest, for example. Yeah. For example, your house is beautiful, but there's some part of the house is for restroom, and you wouldn't like to rest there forever, even though it's beyond your house. You know, look like up on the hill and the higher, more beautiful, but it's not the place to rest. Or in the electric power apartment in your house, the generator, noisy, loud, heat, hot, and dangerous. So you wouldn't want to be there, even though it is very helpful for your house. Understand? That's all. There are many aspects of God that we could not imagine. We always imagine the higher we go, the more loving. But there's different kind of love. There's violent love, strong love, mild love, neutral love. So it depends on how we compare. God will give us different degree of love, right? Different level. Offers some different degree of love from God. Okay. Sometimes it's too strong. We feel we are torn into ribbons.
Hi. I see so much destruction going on around me, environmental destruction, cruelty to animals.
It's true.
And I just wonder how you perceive this and how you can recommend for people who are trying to release themselves from this world in a spiritual fashion to also cope with their surroundings and cope with all the devastation that is around them. And do you think that going beyond this world is enough for us to recognize what we are leaving behind, or do you feel that we in this plane have a duty to try to alleviate the suffering, and will it do any good?
It will. It will. At least for us, for our conscience, so that we feel we're doing something, and we have tried our best to relieve the suffering of our fellow beings. I do all the same. Whatever you ask, I'm doing. I did, I do, and I will. I have told you already, our finance is distributed to different organizations sometimes on different world when there are disasters. And I would not like to boast much about it, but since you asked, for example, we have the flood victim in Vietnam and the flood victim in China, etc. And we're trying to help the Vietnamese refugees now to release, to help with the UN's burden. You understand? Provided the UN wants us to help, but we're trying. Yes, understand? We help them with finance support, and also we could relocate them if the UN let it happen with the blessing of the UN. Understand? Yes. So we do all these things that you have requested, and also because since we are here, you understand, we might as well clean our environment as much as possible. Therefore, we help with the suffering, and we help with the moral standard of the world, both spiritually and physically. Yes, because some people don't want to take spirituality from me; they only want to take physical help. So we help them physically, and that's what we do. That's why I have to earn money. That's why I don't want to live on people's donation. Understand? All my monks and my disciples have to work just like you do. And then apart from that, we help spiritually also, understand? And help with the suffering of the world. I have to relieve the suffering of the world. We have to do this. It doesn't mean we sit in somebody all day long and enjoy ourselves. This is a very selfish Buddha. we don't want to have him here.
You spoke about a level where one is aware that they have powers, comes from that awareness. Now, what if you are aware of the powers? You don't know you have them, but you are aware of them. You may even feel like you do. How do you access it or not access it? If you don't access it, how do you not become impatient with the process that's going on around? Like you see the process taking a slow, mundane way, where you can just pray or do something else to bring about a better, more quicker resolution. Yeah. Okay. What does that mean, and how does one access it with a blessing that it will come out okay?
I understand. What you meant is that when we have a power to change things, and where the things around going in a bureaucratic way and slow way, how would you have the patience to bear it, right? Or would you just pray or do some magic or point a finger and push it, right? No, I have patience. Because we have to work with the pace of this world in order not to bring it into chaos. Yes. For example, a child cannot run. Not because you're in a hurry or you want to run and you make the child stumble and fail. So we have to be patient. Even though we have the power to run, we walk with the child. Yes. That's why sometimes I'm also frustrated and impatient. But I have to teach myself to be patient. That's why I have to go and bow my head from one president after another for the refugees, to take them. Even though we want to add all the financial support, we have to go through the bureaucratic system. Give Caesars what belongs to Caesars. Understand? I'm not going to wave my head or point a finger at the UN even, make them run. No. We cause disaster in this world if we use physical magic power. Understand? It has to go the way it goes. But we can elevate people's consciousness by spiritual hearing, by spiritual wisdom, understanding, impart to them the knowledge that they're willing to do it, you understand, and cooperate. That's the best way, not to use magical power. I never intentionally use magical power in any aspect of life. But miracles just happen around the spiritual practitioners. That's very natural, but not intentionally, you understand? Not trying to push things. Yes, that's no good. The child cannot run. All right, you satisfied with my answer? If any of my answer doesn't suit you, please let me know, because I can explain further. But I trust you're very intelligent, being the most chosen and intelligent people of all nations. Therefore, I don't elaborate very much, yeah? Any more questions? Yes, behind there. It's good that we have United Nations, I have to say, by the way. Yes. We eliminate many of the world's conflicts and wars, even though we cannot completely minimize. But I read your books of United Nations, everyone's United Nations, and I have followed some of the United Nations work, and I must praise its effort and efficiency in rescuing hostage, where other people cannot rescue, all the power of the world cannot rescue. And one United Nations commissioner did it. Yes. And many other things concerning disaster relief, refugees problem. You have about 12 million refugees, I heard. Responsibility, no? It's a lot of work, and the wars and everything. So it's good that we have United Nations. Yeah? It's very good.
Thank you, Master Ching, for sharing your wisdom with us. I have a question. It's about the escalating world population, and it's an accompanying problem of further environmental abuse and the further greater demand for food. Would you like to comment something on this escalating world population? Is this a world karma, or is this going to create certain kind of karma in the future?
To have more people for this world is also very good. Why not? More crowded, more noise, more fun, no? It's not that we are overpopulated, really. We just not spread out evenly. People just condense in certain areas of the world and do not want to move to another area. That is all. Yeah? We have so many vast areas of wild land has not been used. Many virgin islands, many vast Plato, this is already green with forest and nothing there. People just like to concentrate in New York, for example, because it's more fun here. Yes, because if a government or any government is able to create job, you understand, an industry, employment of different kinds in different places, and people would go there also to work. They just condense in some places because it's easier to find employment here or safety. If the safety, security, and employment opportunity presents itself in those other different places, people will go there also. They go for security, for their livelihood. That's very natural. Yeah. So it's not that we should fear about overpopulation. We should be more organized to give people of the world more benefit of employment and housing and security. Then everywhere is the same. We'll never be overpopulated. And about your question concerning food, you should know better because in America we have so much information concerning how to preserve the world. Vegetarian diet is one of the best to preserve the world's resource, to feed the whole population of the earth. Because we waste a lot of vegetarian food, energy, electricity, medicine to raise animals. Understand? Whereby you could feed other people directly. And many countries of the third world nation, they sell their, protein-rich vegetarian food for cheaper price. But that is not a help to the other world's population. If we spread out the food evenly, and vegetarian diet will help this, not only for ourselves, not only for the animal, but for the whole world. One of the research, Sunday magazine, they already said that if everyone in, last time I was in the United Nations, I mentioned that already, I've forgotten. If we eat vegetarian, the world will not be hungry anymore. And also we have to organize, organize. I know some person, he can make a rice bran into nutritious food and milk, even. And we have talked last time about that. He say he spent about $300,000 and he can feed 600,000 people in Ceylon. The poor, the nutritious, the mother, and all that. Yeah, it was fantastic. Because the way we do it in many part of the world is that we waste the natural resource. Not that we don't have enough. God wouldn't put us here to starve. Actually, we starve ourselves. So we have to rethink, reorganize, and that needs the blessing of many countries' government. They have to bless us with their absolute honesty, cleanliness, and innocent dignity, and the will to serve people instead of serve themselves. If they have this blessing, if we have this blessing from all the countries' government, you understand, we have no problem, really. No problem. We have to have good leadership, good economical organization, and ruling talent, and honest government. But that can come about more rapidly when many people, or most of the people, or all the people become spiritual. Then they know the discipline, then they know the precepts, then they know how to be honest and clean, and they know how to use their wisdom then. Then they can think of many things to do and reorganize our lives. Understand? Yes?
That seems to be very difficult because as I understand, much of the environmental abuse today has to do with growing population's demand for more living space, for homes, for living the way we in the 20th century want to know and want to live. Say the jungles in Brazil, the environmental abuse there, the destruction of the forest there, the rainforest, and the land that it's been defoliated and that result in floods. And these are not unrelated to the problem of overpopulation.
Yes, everything related to each other, of course, in this world. And the only solution is that to solve it from the root, not the branches. And the root is spiritual stability. Understand? So all we have to do is trying to spread the spiritual message, what we know, and keep to the spiritual discipline. That's what people don't have. It's okay to plug yourself in the electric machine and have some lights and buzzing music and get some money, but if you don't have moral discipline, then you only use the power for bad things sometimes. Can't control it. You understand? That's why we in this group, we teach people the precept first. Precept is important. We have to know where we go and maneuver our power. Power without love, without compassion, without proper understanding of the moral value, then it's no use. It's become black magic, abuse. Yeah, that's where black magic comes from. Understand? So it's easy to get enlightenment. It's hard to keep it. In our path, if you're not truly disciplined and morally equipped, the master will take away some of your power so that you cannot abuse it and do bad things to the society. Understand? Yeah. That's the difference. The master has control. The master power. Okay? Yes, I'm very happy with all of your intelligence questions. Very intelligent. People do these things because they're not wise enough, like abusing the land that you have said, or doing something just because they're lack of wisdom. Yes, so the root is wisdom, spiritual practice. Get enlightened. Yes. Are we okay or not? We must leave, huh? Thank you for your attention. So, have the best luck and blessing for your job and your wish, your dreams, and your daily aspiration. Leave you for now. Thank you.